This message is for God's chosen ones. If you are walking the divine path, living in alignment with God's will, and have felt a deep calling on your life, then this message is meant for you. But if you are not serious about your relationship with God, or if you are not walking in His purpose, you may find yourself uncomfortable right now, and that discomfort is your sign to let go. However, for those who have been set apart, who feel the tug of something greater pulling you forward, this is a divine moment of reassurance and revelation. God's timing is always perfect. If you are reading this, you have arrived at the exact right moment. Not too early, not too late, right when you need it most. What I am about to share with you is not a coincidence. The message you are about to hear has been sent to you because you are about to experience a shift in your season. God says that justice has already been released. That thing you've prayed for in the secret place, the situations that have weighed heavy on your heart, and the injustices you've endured in silence, God has already handled it. What you've cried out for, what you've endured in silence, what you've carried when no one else understood, it has been seen by God. And now, the weight that has burdened you is beginning to lift. This is a season of divine release. Even though you may not see it yet, something is shifting in the spiritual realm. Your season is changing as we speak. You are about to experience peace where there was once turmoil, strength where there was weakness, and release where there was once pressure. For the chosen ones, the weight you've carried has prepared you for the next chapter. It was never meant to break you. It was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to refine you, to make you stronger, and to position you for the blessings and assignments that God has in store for you. Through this time of testing and endurance, God has been building in you a foundation of strength, wisdom, and discernment. You've learned how to endure hardship, how to carry burdens that others didn't understand, and how to trust God when you had nothing else to hold on to. Now, God is speaking directly to your spirit, bringing you a message of confirmation and peace. If you've felt the weight of the world on your shoulders, if you've questioned why things haven't made sense, if you've wondered where God is in the midst of your struggles, know that this moment is for you. The time for your burden to lift has come. Divine justice has already been released, and this message is here to confirm that your season of struggle is coming to an end. You are entering a season of peace, clarity, and divine alignment. Hold on to this truth: God has seen every tear, every struggle, and every sacrifice. Nothing has gone unnoticed. You are not alone. Your journey has been seen, and now, God is stepping in to handle the things you could not. Trust His timing. Trust His process. And know that your next chapter is one of divine release and restoration. Chosen ones often carry a weight that few can understand. It's not a burden you talk about, nor one you seek sympathy for. In fact, many of you have learned to smile through the pain, showing strength even when exhaustion threatens to take over. This hidden weight is a spiritual and emotional load that only those set apart by God truly understand. It's a quiet pressure, often felt in the depths of your soul when no one else is around to see it. The burden you carry is not one of your choosing. It's a weight that God has allowed to mold you, to refine you. And yet, despite the heaviness, you continue forward. You don't complain, you don't ask for help. People see your strength, but they don't realize how much it costs you. While others may never truly understand the emotional toll it takes, you have learned to endure. You carry this load not to break you, but to build you into someone stronger, someone more resilient. At times, you may have questioned yourself. You've wondered why the path you walk seems so lonely, why love and kindness seem to bring distance from others rather than closeness. You may have asked, am I doing something wrong? Why does it feel like I give and give, but receive so little in return? These thoughts didn't make you weak, they made you human. They made you aware of your humanity, of the deep emotional and spiritual pressures that come with being chosen. And yet, through it all, God never judged you for these moments of vulnerability. He saw every tear you swallowed in silence, every prayer you whispered when you didn't have the strength to speak aloud. Chosen ones often feel like they are different from others. It's as if your spirit is more sensitive to the world around you, more aware of the energies and emotions that others miss. You can walk into a room and instantly sense who is genuine and who isn't. You can feel the shifts before they happen, even if others can't. This heightened awareness is both a gift and a curse. While it allows you to navigate the world with a deep understanding, it also means that your spirit is constantly under pressure. You can't unsee what you see, and you can't unfeel what you feel. This constant awareness of the world around you, and the emotional energy of others, weighs heavily on your spirit. The emotional toll of this sensitivity can sometimes feel unbearable. You've learned to stay calm when provoked, to stay quiet when accused, to stay loving when mistreated. These moments weren't accidental, they were part of the training God set before you. He was strengthening your inner spirit, teaching you to respond with wisdom instead of reacting emotionally, to trust in Him rather than trying to defend yourself. Even though the weight was heavy, it was never meant to crush you. It was meant to prepare you for what's coming next. Though it may have felt like you were alone in this journey, you were never truly without support. God has been there, walking beside you, even when you couldn't see or feel Him. This hidden weight, though it may have brought moments of isolation and confusion, has been part of your divine preparation. Through it, you've learned invaluable lessons about resilience, patience, and the power of silence. And now, as the burden begins to lift, you'll understand that everything you've carried was never meant to break you, but to build you into a person who is ready for the next season of your life. The burden that the chosen ones carry is not without purpose. It is easy to view weight as something that slows you down or holds you back, but in reality, it is the very thing that is shaping you into who you are meant to be. God does not allow His chosen ones to endure suffering without reason. Every hardship, every trial, every tear that you have shed has been part of a greater divine plan, one that is meant to strengthen you, refine your character, and prepare you for a future that requires you to be emotionally, mentally, and spiritually strong. Many times, when the burden feels overwhelming, you may ask yourself, why am I carrying this? Why is this happening to me? The answer lies in the refining process. Just as gold must go through fire to be purified, your spirit has been tempered through trials. The emotional pressure you have experienced was never meant to break you, it was meant to build you up, to make you stronger, more discerning, and more compassionate. Each trial has been a lesson in resilience and patience, even when you didn't understand the full picture. In these moments, you may have felt misunderstood or abandoned. People might have expected you to be fine, to keep going without showing any sign of weakness. They never realized how much you were silently carrying, how heavy your heart was behind your smiles. But God saw it all. He saw the emotional labor you put in, the times when you forgave those who didn't deserve it, the moments when you prayed for others who secretly wished harm upon you. Each act of kindness, each act of restraint, was being recorded by God. He saw your faithfulness even when others didn't recognize it. This burden also taught you how to love with wisdom. You've had to learn that not everyone who seeks your love is ready for it, and not everyone who takes from you is willing to give in return. God allowed this emotional stretching so you could learn boundaries. He allowed you to experience pain so that you could become emotionally intelligent, able to discern when to stay and when to walk away. As you release the burden, you will begin to see that these lessons were not given to you as punishment, but as preparation. You were being trained for a higher calling, a calling that requires wisdom, discernment, and strength. It is this preparation that will carry you through the next season of your life. The burden you carried wasn't just a weight, it was the catalyst for your growth. Now, as that weight begins to lift, you will understand its purpose was to shape you into the person you need to be for what lies ahead. The moment when justice is released is one that brings peace to the soul. For the chosen ones, this is a season of divine intervention. You may have been waiting for God to act, to right the wrongs that have been done to you, and now, God's justice has been set into motion. But here is something important to understand: divine justice is not like human justice. God's timing is perfect, and when He decides to act, it is done with precision, without the need for fanfare or validation. Human justice often comes with noise. It seeks to expose, to humiliate, and to make people aware of wrongdoing. But divine justice operates quietly and without the need for applause. When God decides to release justice, it is not done for the satisfaction of human emotions. It is done to restore balance, to set things right in the spiritual realm, and to bring peace to His chosen ones. God is not concerned with satisfying human desires for revenge or retribution. He is interested in restoring divine order. This is why you may not see immediate results. You may wonder why it seems like nothing is happening, why the people who have wronged you are still going on with their lives, seemingly unaffected. What you must understand is that divine justice often begins in the unseen realms. It is at work where human eyes cannot see it, and before anything manifests in the physical world, the matter has already been settled in the spiritual realm. God's actions are not driven by our need for evidence, they are driven by His perfect plan. The peace you are beginning to feel is confirmation that divine justice has already been released. You don't need to see the full picture, you simply need to trust that God has handled it. The emotional weight you've been carrying, the burden of unanswered questions and unresolved injustices, is being lifted because God has already moved. His justice may not look the way you expect it to, but it is always accurate, always timely, and always for your good. When God moves in silence, it is not a sign of inaction. It is a sign of His strategy. The reason why you have felt a strange calm lately is because your spirit knows that something has shifted. Your burden is being released, and God is making things right, even if you can't see it yet. Trust in His timing, trust in His process, and know that divine justice is always precise and always for the good of His chosen ones. There comes a moment in the life of a chosen one when the burden you've carried for so long begins to lift. This moment is not just about physical relief, but emotional, mental, and spiritual release. It is the moment when the weight that has been pressing on your soul starts to ease. You begin to feel lighter, not because your circumstances have immediately changed, but because your spirit knows that the season of struggle is coming to an end. For so long, you carried the weight of past hurt, betrayal, and misunderstanding. You tried to make sense of it all, to explain yourself, to defend your intentions, but now, you are no longer called to explain. You no longer need to prove your worth or your heart. God has already validated you, and His approval is all that matters. When divine justice is at work, human opinions lose their power. This release is about freeing yourself from the need to seek validation from others. It is about trusting that God sees and knows everything, even the things that others have overlooked or misunderstood. This release also means that you are allowed to rest. For so long, your spirit was in overdrive, constantly working to keep things together, to stay strong for others, to bear burdens that were never meant for you. But now, you can stop. You can breathe deeply and rest in the peace that God is providing. It's a rest that goes beyond physical relaxation. It is a deep, soul-level peace that comes from knowing that God has handled everything for you. The peace that settles into your spirit is not temporary. It is the calm that follows divine justice, a peace that comes from knowing that the burden has been lifted and that you are now free to move forward. You no longer need to carry the weight of the past. The emotional scars that once haunted you begin to fade, and you are free to step into the new season of your life with clarity, purpose, and peace. This release is not just a moment, it is the beginning of a new chapter where you walk with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. After divine justice moves, things start to shift. These changes are subtle at first, but they are profound. The first thing you will notice is the return of peace. This peace is not like the fleeting calm that comes from external circumstances. It is a deep, internal peace that settles in your spirit. You no longer feel the need to replay old conversations in your mind, to imagine alternate outcomes, or to seek closure from people who never understood you. The mental noise begins to quiet, and with it, a sense of clarity emerges. Along with peace comes discernment. You begin to see situations more clearly, recognizing patterns and behaviors that once confused you. You trust your intuition without second-guessing it, and you no longer feel the need to explain yourself. You've learned that silence is not weakness, it is a powerful tool for maintaining your boundaries and protecting your peace. You've also learned that not everyone needs access to your inner world. You are more selective with the energy you allow into your life, recognizing that your peace is sacred and must be guarded. Your emotional regulation becomes sharper. Where once you may have been triggered by the actions of others, you now find yourself remaining steady. You no longer internalize everything. Instead, you breathe, observe, and choose your response with wisdom. This emotional maturity is not something that came easily, but it is the fruit of the trials you've endured. You have learned to stay grounded and to respond from a place of peace, not from a place of emotional reaction. Relationships also begin to shift. Some connections naturally fade, and that's okay. You no longer feel the need to force relationships or to keep people in your life who drain your energy. As God realigns your relational landscape, you find yourself gravitating toward people who respect your boundaries and offer mutual support. You feel less emotional labor, and more balance in your interactions. These new relationships will feel calmer, more grounded, and aligned with the person you are becoming. After divine justice has been released, your role shifts. You are no longer responsible for defending yourself, seeking validation, or carrying the weight of the past. Now, your responsibility is to walk clean. Walking clean means letting go of the residue from the season that has ended. It means no longer revisiting old wounds or reopening doors that God has already closed. It is about walking forward without the emotional baggage that once weighed you down. Walking clean requires you to guard your heart. You no longer need to explain what happened, to tell your side of the story, or to rehash past conversations. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. You have been released from the need for closure from others. The closure you seek has already been provided by God, and it is final. When God closes a chapter, it stays closed. You are free to move forward without looking back. This new season requires intentionality. You must resist the temptation to emotionally re-engage with past situations or relationships. Some people may try to reconnect, not because they seek healing, but because they want to regain access to your energy. You must be discerning in these moments. Your peace and energy are sacred now. Access to you is no longer automatic, it must be intentional. This is not about bitterness or anger, it is about protecting your boundaries and ensuring that the past does not pull you backward. As you walk clean, you are also called to remain teachable. Even after vindication, stay open to growth. Don't assume that you've learned all there is to learn. Reflect on the lessons of the past, but don't dwell on them. Your future requires your full attention, and you must stay aligned with God's guidance. Stay humble and intentional, and you will walk forward into the next season with wisdom, peace, and clarity. As the weight of the past lifts, and divine justice begins to take its course, it's important to recognize that this new season comes with a shift in perspective. For many chosen ones, the shift isn't just external but deeply internal. You are being elevated, and with elevation comes responsibility, not just in how you handle the blessings that lie ahead, but in how you approach the world and people around you. This new chapter is not about returning to your old patterns but about embracing a higher calling with clarity and wisdom. The spiritual shifts you are experiencing may be subtle at first, but they are profound. You are beginning to see things from a broader perspective, one that is shaped by your growth through trials and struggles. The emotional fog that once clouded your vision is clearing, and you are able to discern situations, relationships, and decisions with much greater precision. Your intuition is sharper, and your ability to sense when something is right or wrong is stronger than ever. This is a gift, and it is one that has been honed through the trials you've faced. Now, you must trust this newfound wisdom and use it to guide your steps moving forward. No longer will you feel the need to rush or to second-guess yourself. You have learned to pause, to reflect, and to listen to God's gentle nudges before making decisions. This wisdom is not only about understanding what's happening around you but about understanding what's happening within you. You are now able to see and trust your emotional and spiritual responses. Where once you might have been confused or uncertain, now you stand firm with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing that God is at work in your life. This shift also calls you to walk in humility. The lessons you've learned, the wisdom you've gained, should not inflate your ego. Instead, they should make you more compassionate, more understanding, and more gentle toward others. You've been through the fire, and as you emerge stronger, it's important to remember that your strength isn't meant to be flaunted. Rather, it's meant to be a quiet power that leads, guides, and serves. Your wisdom will be recognized not through words, but through actions. People will be drawn to you because they see something different in you, something peaceful, steady, and unwavering. This is the power of wisdom. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. Your role is to embody this wisdom in your daily life, to allow it to shape your relationships, your decisions, and your path forward. As you move into this new season, embrace the shift with openness and trust. God has prepared you for what's ahead, and now it is your turn to walk forward with the assurance that you are stepping into the fullness of your purpose. Importance of trusting God's divine process. Many times, chosen ones question why things take so long or why they must endure so much, but the truth is that God's process is always perfect, even when it feels delayed or confusing. The delay was never a mistake. Every step, every twist and turn, every struggle, and every season of waiting was a part of the process that was designed to shape you, to strengthen your faith, and to build a deep, unshakable trust in God. As you step into this new season, trusting God's process is key. No longer are you fighting against the waiting or questioning the timing. Instead, you are learning to flow with His divine timing, understanding that He is never late. What may have felt like an endless season of trials was actually a season of preparation. God knew exactly what He was doing. He knew exactly when to step in and make things right. And now, as you experience the release of divine justice, you can look back and see how perfectly everything was orchestrated to get you to this point. Trusting the divine process doesn't mean you will always understand every detail of what is happening. It doesn't mean that the future will be free of challenges. What it does mean is that you are no longer bound by fear, uncertainty, or confusion. You know that God is in control, and because He is, you can move forward with peace in your heart. You no longer need to chase after validation or seek approval from the world. You are secure in God's love, His calling, and His timing. Each step forward now is taken with the full assurance that God is guiding you. He is leading you to the next chapter of your life, and you can trust that each new challenge is part of His perfect plan. Whether you are facing new opportunities or new obstacles, know that they are part of the divine process that will continue to refine you. You are no longer alone in your struggles. With each step, you are walking in alignment with His purpose for your life, and as long as you trust Him and remain faithful, you will continue to experience His peace and guidance. In this new season, you will begin to see the beauty in the process. You will no longer resist the timing or question the journey. Instead, you will find peace in knowing that everything is happening exactly as it should. Trusting the divine process means you are free to walk in confidence, free to let go of the past, and free to embrace the future with open arms, knowing that the One who has brought you this far will continue to guide you toward His perfect plan. As you step into this new season, remember that divine justice is a quiet but powerful force. It doesn't announce itself with loud declarations or dramatic displays. Instead, it moves with precision, working in the unseen before it ever manifests in the physical realm. This means that even if you can't yet see the results with your natural eyes, your spirit knows that something has shifted. The burden that once weighed you down, the emotional toll that felt unmanageable, is beginning to lift. The peace you are starting to feel is not a coincidence. It is confirmation that God has already handled what you couldn't. Justice has already been released, and the closure you've been seeking is quietly unfolding. God's timing, though often mysterious, is always perfect. He doesn't rush, He moves with purpose. So while you may be waiting for tangible evidence of His justice, trust that the peace within you is the sign that things are being made right. In this new season, your role is not to fight battles that God has already won for you. Your responsibility is to rest in the peace He's giving you, to walk forward with wisdom, and to trust His guidance as you move ahead. The weight you've carried was never meant to last forever. It was a temporary season designed to prepare you for what is coming. And now, as that season draws to a close, you are being released into a time of greater clarity, purpose, and peace. Understand that this release is not just about getting rid of burdens, but about walking clean. You are being called to let go of the emotional baggage, the unresolved feelings, and the need for validation from others. God has already validated you, and His approval is the only one that matters. Now, your focus must be on staying aligned with Him. Keep your heart protected, your mind at peace, and your spirit open to the next phase of your journey. The future ahead of you is full of promise, but it requires a lighter heart and a clear mind to fully step into it. This is not the end of your journey, it is the beginning of a new chapter. You are being prepared for greater responsibilities, new assignments, and more significant opportunities. Divine justice is not just about what God removes from your life, but also about what He is positioning you for in the future. Trust that the lessons of the past have not been wasted. Every moment of suffering, every time you felt alone, was building something in you. You are stronger, wiser, and more resilient because of what you've endured. And now, as you step into this new season, you can do so with the confidence that God is with you every step of the way. The peace you feel is not temporary. It is a sign that God's work is being completed in your life, and He is preparing you for what's ahead.